gentlemen, more bows than Lindas. You are listening to Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. My name is Michelle Burlingame. With me are Tommy Roulette.
How's it going?
Pete Woodward.
That's me.
And our guests. You've heard them every week for the last couple of weeks. George Dunn and Devon Newson.
Hello.
Hey.
We got two guests this week, you guys.
It's a crossover
fancy.
event extravaganza.
Yeah.
This week, you may have noticed from the title of the episode is the beginning of Bender's Big Score. So we're gonna cut these up into parts, and this is part one.
I mean,
We'll see how it
alternately,
goes.
we could just release the same 3-hour podcast.
Nobody's
going
gonna
to
listen to that.
And then there'll be a bonus episode if you play all the parts simultaneously.
Like that
Then you
Flaming
can
Lips
hear.
album.
Yeah.
I like the crossover events. This is like Secret Wars or Crisis on
I was gonna
Infinite
say,
Podcasts.
it's like Yawn on Infinite Girth. Like,
Yeah, this is gonna be good. Even right now, the levels are hotter than normal. So
we're gonna be hot. It's a hot
Yeah.
episode.
Hot mic.
I had no idea that this was gonna stretch across 4 episodes. So
Yeah.
I spent 88 minutes watching.
So I was
Futurama
like, I
yesterday.
know you were kind of like the one who hasn't watched like these all the way through, right?
Yeah,
Like,
this is.
I was always confused as to what
officially.
your because you'd probably seen episodes, but like you started a podcast for a show you never saw.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
never.
funny how that works.
Saw, but
Deservedly so.
didn't remember.
Yeah.
really. He's seen them. He just doesn't remember
I think
watching them. I think.
The official line is
That's-
from this point forward is about where I was completely checked out.
You were
That's
like
pretty much
having
about me,
kids.
too. Like I didn't watch any of it.
Yeah, well, no. When was this? This was
2008.
2008. I wasn't having kids
You
yet.
were getting divorced.
I was getting divorced.
But the movie was released 2007. I
This?
think.
Was
It was
it?
Wait,
2008.
Was
it was
it?
like
Yes,
2010.
because this was the question that I won at the Futurama trivia night at Yuzu that nobody else got right.
Oh,
Which was,
you're right.
What year did the
That's
did the
right.
movie
I was
come
definitely out of
out?
high school by that time.
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah.
That's how I knew what year it was because I watched it in my dorm room at OU. So like I was like, that was 2008.
So what was the release schedule for these 4 films?
It was like every few months or something like that.
So it was a
like,
pretty quick clip when they
Yeah.
said
The
we're bringing it
DVD
back.
was released November 2017.
What?
So
Really?
That's not
yeah,
true.
it was
That
aired.
was like a year ago.
2017?
yes,
No.
yes,
Of Bender's Big Score?
yes. The DVD.
That's
I definitely.
they were straight to DVD.
Yeah,
crazy.
that's what the whole
Yeah,
thing.
and then it aired on
Was that like a was it-
TV.
it was
on-
never, it was
Tom,
never on TV.
2007 or 2017?
2007.
Okay.
Okay.
Did I say 2017? Oh my god. Sorry.
I was like, it's definitely never aired on TV until recently.
Yeah, it was. Well, I knew I was in college, so I would have been in college November of
Yeah,
2007.
this is one of the first things I pirated, like ever.
Yeah, this was like
'Cause
the
I was
first
like-
thing when I had
I
my
was
own
super excited, but I didn't
television with
wanna buy it.
cable.
Well, I had it on audiobook in 1992.
Getting that Walkman out, the cassette tape.
Yeah, this was back when I was still pirating stuff and I
over.
wasn't able to watch MP4s on my TV, so I'd burn it to a DVD
And then
and
Yeah.
then watch it. And it was like a bad version of it, like a bad quality because I didn't know how to burn DVDs properly.
it's so even now, it just so much work.
Yeah.
You used to put so much work, and it wasn't even like
I remember spending all day waiting for WinMX to download one
Yeah.
System of a Down song.
oh god.
It's always Pogo.
I would go to school and wait for it to be done. I would come home and I'm like, yes, 98%.
was this happening at your parents' house or at your grandparents with the fancy satellite
It
dish?
was my parents' house.
Okay, so it wasn't like you were downloading it from space.
No, this was
I don't think that's how the internet works.
Well, that's how it worked at her grandparents' place. Apparently,
Oh,
They
yeah,
had like
yeah.
They had like a
Is your
Millennium
grandparents
Falcon.
Elon Musk?
my grandparents were like one of the first people that had the internet. That they were like in the middle of nowhere. I don't know, like my grandpa was just like, you know what? I heard about this thing called the internet that they just invented.
Internet, huh?
Let's get it. And then he had like one of those big giant satellite, like it literally as tall as this room satellite.
Oh, I remember those. My grandma had her next door neighbor had a huge one.
Yeah, they're fucking.
You can
it was
time travel in
giant.
Or what was that movie where the parents get turned like go into the television in their cable box? It's not Pleasantville, but like
Oh, I
before
know.
that.
It's a
John-
John Ritter
John Ritter's
vehicle.
in
I
it.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
fuck was
not
that?
Problem Child.
No.
I wish you would have wanted to do a TV of
I
Problem
haven't thought
Child.
about this movie in so
Oh
long.
shit!
Because like they went in through the satellite dish or something like that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was like hell. It was like a
Yeah.
hell channel or TV.
Oh my God. I know exactly.
It was like one of
what
those
you're
things that was
talking
always
about.
on TV, and I'd watch
I'm
it,
on
and I
it.
never remembered.
Tom's looking it up. Yeah, I feel
Stay
bad.
tuned. Stay tuned.
Perfect.
That's what it's called. It's a bad name.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
bad
awful.
for John Ritter in general, not only because
he's dead?
well, dead in an
Yeah.
untimely and
Yeah.
unfortunately young way, but like, for as crappy as Three's Company, like dubious quality for sure, but he always committed and
Well,
was
same
just
with my wife and or not my wife and Karen.
like 8 rules for dating my
Hey,
daughter.
yeah.
Yeah, and so he had this, he was really not a very respected actor, but he always chipped away at it and just
Yeah.
kind of dealt with it and seemed to be like a very humble and good-natured guy.
He's very funny.
And yeah, absolutely. And then he had like that star turn as the supporting actor in Sling Blade.
Oh, I forgot.
And it
about
wasn't I think that was kind of what kicked him back into having the
that.
career
Yeah, Bad
again, and
Santa.
then he
Like, was really good
died.
at Bad Santa.
Yeah. Yeah, just
Did he die of a heart attack?
something
Is that
like
what it was?
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just unfortunate.
Was
Yeah.
that on set?
Yeah.
I don't
Was it?
remember.
I think it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, he's one of those guys like Phil Hartman and John Candy that's just like, God damn it, why do they have to be dead?
Maybe
Yeah.
not on that level.
You don't
I mean,
think so?
not as Phil Hartman. No, I
Well,
would never
no,
put him up there with Hartman.
Phil Hartman and John Candy, certainly their creative output, I definitely
I think they're
appeal
a
to more.
little bit more universally beloved than John
Yeah.
Ritter, but
yeah, John Candy especially is like
Yeah.
like everybody loves John Candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most people love Phil Hartman if they know who he is.
Right.
And then John Ritter's like, oh, that guy. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
him.
but when you start reading the story, it's just real sad.
Yeah,
Anyway,
great Futurama podcast.
there was actually a jumbotron in the first because you watched the DVD, right, Tom?
Yes.
Did you guys watch like episode chopped up, or did you have a DVD too?
I watched it on Hulu, so it was all episodes.
Okay.
Hulu.
Yep.
That's the
Did too.
situation I had.
It was weird watching it like that because they had like
Yeah.
these cuts.
Previously,
Like
yeah.
the interstitial
previously,
stuff.
yeah,
I
like
just tuned those out.
I think the Torgo's powder
Torgo's
commercial
executive powder.
is added.
Yeah, that's not in the DVD.
Really?
Yeah,
I think
that's-
they do that with all the movies, is they add some commercial bumpers.
Just to break it up and
Yeah.
make it a little more seamless.
Yeah, I mean they kind of give up in the second, third, and fourth episode, though. I don't know. Maybe it's just one per movie. I
Well,
don't know.
like the gag was that in the beginning they say like, bad news, you're all fired, and then the idiots at the executives at the
Oh,
network.
yeah.
Box Network.
Yeah, box. Yes, the
With
big
the
box
flashing
delivery network.
neon.
Yeah, they were ground up and turned into Torgo's executive powder.
So-
like that was ground up executives. That
Comedy Central paid for these? Is
I
that
think it was Fox. It was the same thing that happened with Family Guy, because Family Guy had a movie too.
did it?
Yeah,
Mm.
it was like a
Star
straight to
Wars
TV. No,
one, or
it was
which one?
It was a
Stewie's Untold Story. Or
Yeah, something like that.
Oh,
Because I mean, they were really.
I don't like Family Guy. Was that one of the time travel ones?
No,
Apparently,
Oh, no, it
they
was.
don't like
It
Family
was.
Guy
Was
a
it?
very
lot
much
of
either.
time travel in that one.
yeah.
But they were really brutal on the Fox executives. Like
Yeah,
that
they
was-
were.
Well, it
was
was.
very funny.
I think when they cut it up into episodes, it was the first Futurama, like new, fresh Futurama that aired on Comedy Central, which was March 2008. So that's when I saw it.
Yeah.
Was March 2008,
Yeah.
but it was straight to DVD in November 2007.
But
I
they did have a jumbotron, but it was a loop back to Fry falling in the cryo chamber.
Yeah.
I missed that. I
Yeah,
was
it was.
writing.
Only on the first one,
Okay,
and
yeah.
then the other ones it was just crashing in to the
Mhm.
screen.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all weird exposition at the beginning.
Yeah, but it was fucking hilarious.
And it had also been there. It had been 4 years since there'd been new Futurama, though. So it was almost like they were reintroducing the.
Then
Like
why
the
did they just say
characters.
2 years? Because he's like, you've
Well,
been fired for 2 years.
Because they started writing it 2 years after.
Ah.
So it's yeah.
I think they produced these movies like it was just a regular season, and they just had 4 episodes, basically, like 4 really long episodes. Because like the first 2 movies, I think even the third movie kind of blend into each other.
Yeah.
Like this one basically ends at the beginning of.
It works as
the
a
next
pretty seamless season type When you're
Okay.
watching it on Hulu, you don't notice that it's like movies. You just think of it as like really long episodes.
Yeah.
I'm probably more so than the other seasons. I mean, there was some linearity to things,
Mm-hmm.
especially that we watched them in the production order.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean that makes sense. Does that carry on then into the later seasons? Like,
Not really.
No.
It's not like the stuff will carry through the movies, but
Okay.
then it's kind of different when it comes back.
It's kind of back to basics for the most part
Yeah.
in the show.
The whole. First of all,
But they'll reference stuff from the old
stuff. Well, yeah,
like
they'd
the
have to.
original 4 seasons. Yeah.
Hermes is now a grade 34 bureaucrat, so he got promoted up several levels since the last time
He's
You
very
know-
good at
Doing
it.
he
work.
came up.
I didn't realize that Bender is the was he the assistant manager of sales? I never knew that. I don't think they ever said that before that he was so I guess Bender got promoted too.
I loved all of those like just punny jokes. Like, what does this mean for us and our many fans? And shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's standing in front of a shit ton of fans.
I mean, and they were funny, but it was also, it didn't track with sort of the, you know what I mean? It was very, like, it was funny.
Mhm.
I did get a kick out of that because it's just like, here's a weird non sequitur, but like, that almost doesn't keep with the aesthetic of the show in general.
Oh, it was totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of that stuff at the beginning was just,
The
I don't-
comedy gets meaner and a bit more aggressive and weirder
does it?
Mhm.
in the later, like the Comedy Central
Yeah.
stuff. They really, like, especially the first half of the first new season. They're really kind of like finding their legs, and they're like, "Hey, we can be a little edgier now. We can."
We're on
Yeah.
basic cable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they kind of like go a bit overboard. I think they kind of find their footing a little bit in the second half of that season, but like it gets a little weird
Yeah.
after a while.
Well, there was lots of butts in this one.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Lots of
This
butts.
is why it's
and,
my favorite one.
and a bunch of side boob and stuff too. Like it was really
Dr. Good and
pretty.
sexy.
Mind if I use your pen?
Why are you talking to my penis?
It's lots of throbbing sacks.
Yeah.
There, so they have their party about kind of being back in business. What kind of skull was Leela drinking out of, and why?
I think
I was
it looked like
confused
kind of
by
like
it.
a Martian skull, but I don't know. Maybe it was
Neanderthal?
small, but
Yeah, but
Like,
it was.
I don't
Yeah,
know
it
what
was a
kind of
skull.
glass it was or like skull it was.
I can't even think of it off the top of my head.
It was when Scruffy was, DJing and scratching like
Mm-hmm.
it was the 1980s, and really tearing it up with his.
He's a very good DJ.
Yeah.
He is. He's a man of surprising talents. Just even that the whole kind of party scene seemed a little forced. I guess
Yeah.
they just needed
It's a
the
way to
plot
get
devices.
in. Yeah, just to get into the story.
And get Hermes decapitated.
That was brutal.
Qbert was in this for about 4 seconds.
yeah. And Dwight was in it a
And
bunch.
then he was gone.
That's all the Qbert I want.
Yep.
That's perfect.
That's all you need.
Well, just and we're jumping ahead a little bit, but the part where
I like 11-inch Conrad. That's why they
Yeah.
call me 11-inch
Yeah.
Conrad.
the whole part where the professor is talking about the executives, and he's like, those asinine morons who canceled us were themselves fired for incompetence and beaten up too, pretty badly. Some of them died from their injuries.
They're all like slowly like losing
Woo.
enthusiasm.
And then they were ground up into a fine pink powder.
Well, so that was the whole thing with the Torgo's executive powder.
They
like,
ran that into the ground.
yeah,
Yeah.
It was so fucking funny.
it was all over the place.
It's good for everything.
Apparently, I
It
mean,
stops bombs.
When your bathroom smells like feces from some disgusting species.
Didn't get to see the commercial
Aw,
for it.
it's
The commercial was
good.
very funny.
Just go watch it. Like
They
put
have
it on YouTube.
Yeah, on the DVD they have an entire half-hour episode of Everybody Loves Hypnotoad.
Yeah.
Do they really?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like 20 some odd minutes
Yeah, it's
of
probably just the same
just
shot.
yeah.
That's a good hypnotoad.
So they, Dr. Fry just decides that Dr. Cahill's name is Dr. Good and Sexy. and she doesn't really, I mean, she's like, that's not my name, but then she just leans into it. And then Lars comes in.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a long way to get there, but mixed feelings about that in
What do you
general.
think of Lars at the beginning as
Yeah.
someone who's You've not seen this?
No, I hadn't.
Okay.
But
did you
had
not
it
immediately
spoiled.
know? Oh, you did.
Someone
You
had
already-
spoiled
okay.
it for me.
Well-
Spoiled it
probably
on
you
episode,
last
like a week
episode.
before.
Somebody said something about it.
Probably at some point somebody said something.
Yeah. Someone did say it on the more recent episode I was listening. I'm like, no, don't.
Spoilers.
I feel like you gotta see it.
I like that he was disinfecting Courtney
Well,
Love, but they never said why.
I think it was yeah.
And she still has a fly above her.
Somebody was. I think I remember. I don't remember who it was, but it was when we were talking about Jurassic Park. Somebody mentioned that it
How
was
it's a bad
completely.
episode?
Well, it was retconned
Oh yeah,
because
Yeah.
of this. So that may have
Yeah,
been
yeah.
what spoiled it for you, which
Yeah.
means that it
Was
may
it?
have been one of you. I don't remember.
I was on-
Were you?
Oh wait, no, I wasn't Jurassic Park.
You did
I didn't do-
Jurassic Park, didn't
No, I
you?
did not.
Who
No.
did?
I
Somebody
asked to
did.
do
Who did?
Jurassic
No,
Park.
Becca did.
Oh, that's
Jurassic
right.
Park.
I don't remember.
I know.
So it wasn't either of you.
That was like 20
Apologies.
episodes.
I
I
know,
know.
I
I,
like
I
it.
can't
Yeah.
remember. That was forever ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember who was on last week, unfortunately, because my memory's just shot.
No one.
Oh, it was Dan Miller.
It was Dan.
Okay, yeah, it was the end of a season, so that made sense. He was still alive and not almost dead.
He is still alive.
Yes, he's immortal. Clearly, the thing I didn't understand. So, the first of several.
Hi, time travel.
Yeah, when
confused.
they're trying to get Hermes set up in his temporary jar, why was the jar he was in like what
Dirty.
was the other shit in it? Because it was like gunky with like.
I think it was just like a replacement jar or a temporary jar.
Yeah,
It
I think
wasn't-
like a like where you borrow store socks to try on shoes or something like that.
like because they made it seem like they were just waiting for his body to get fixed. And
Yeah.
and it was supposed to be like a day or two, and the barber's like, "That's not soon enough" or something.
Boy needs a father.
She's the
Boy
worst.
needs a daddy. God, I hate her.
I mean, do you blame her? Barbados Slim. Come
I
on.
mean, Barbados Slim. His muscles just. Do
I mean,
that.
she divorced him for a reason.
And he won a gold medal in
Sex.
both limbo and sex. The only person to do so.
I'm one of them as well.
There's so Lars starts coming on to Leela. Hermes shouts him down, like, pick up ladies on your own time, you shiny-headed goat. But then just, sir, you're just a little enraged because you're dying. Like, that whole thing was just perfect. But what I didn't know was he sprayed the stuff into the jar, the liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And the tube said it was H2OG fat.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like, it's got to be a science.
Hog fat is what I read off of it, but it was just, I think there was just a
Somebody
two
wrote it
Yeah.
too.
as like, it was supposed to be hog fat, but as like a chemical.
Huh.
I think that's what it was.
So it's H2O2 fat. Is that what?
Yeah.
It was
H2OG fat.
Yeah, H2OG fat. So I read, when I
Hog
saw it, it
fat.
said hog.
Okay. Yeah.
So just
like, just
drew
be
in the
water
two to
fat,
like
yeah.
hide it or something.
I don't
Just,
remember
yeah, like,
my
to make
periodic
it a
table,
chemical
but
type.
I don't believe there is a G.
I'm
I
not
don't
a
think
science
I don't think there's a
scientist.
2 in the word hog fat either.
Well, no, but I'm saying I don't think G. Well, fat is definitely not an element, but the G
Hog
doesn't.
square fat.
Like H2OG is not.
Oh, yeah,
that's what it
that's-
said.
That's not a.
That's not anything.
Are you sure?
I don't know. Hog
No,
fat's not
that's what
really-
I said. I don't remember the periodic table.
You were an
but
art student.
I don't think.
Hang on.
Exactly. I was an art student. Why would I know the periodic table?
I don't know, for making
I felt like
weird
that was
paints
supposed
or
to be a joke,
something.
but I just didn't find it like. Funny.
Yeah.
I was
No,
just
I
like,
agreed.
I thought it was just referencing something else.
Yeah.
And that's when you see how gunky.
The humor
jar
in this
really is.
isn't as great as the first 4 seasons. To
You
me.
don't like this one? This is probably one of my favorite.
There's a lot of good
things.
stuff in it for me, but it's like it feels not quite like Futurama I know and love.
Really?
Yeah,
This is what I
don't
think
know
of when
why.
I think of Futurama.
I
Honestly.
like it though, but
I like all the nudity.
Yeah.
And although there's also a lot of stuff in this episode that I found really disgusting. Just sort of what the like number one, Fry pretending to be a Frenchman with Charles de Gaulle on his head.
The great Poupon.
I am some French guy.
Who is that? I was writing that down. I'm like, I have no idea who that guy is.
Charles de Gaulle.
Charles de Gaulle.
Seriously?
He says, "I freed France from the Nazis." And,
Yeah, he was
and then-
like, he's like the French Winston Churchill during
Yeah.
World War II.
okay.
The airport in Paris is named after him.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not a French scientist. Like,
I
the
mean,
one airport in Paris is named
Well, just the one.
I've never
just
been
the,
to French.
the big
France.
one. But I mean, who is Hopkins named after? I don't know, but I know that Charles de Gaulle Airport is named after Charles de Gaulle.
You don't know John Hopkins?
No.
I don't either.
Sounds like a name of a drummer of a rock band
He
from the
sounds like
70s.
John Hopkins.
The guy who
Yeah.
replaced that one guy from Rush for a minute.
The John Hopkins trio.
Has anyone ever made
Coen Brothers made a joke.
French dressing?
French.
Is that
bread.
mixing French and ranch?
Yeah.
That sounds delicious.
It's so good. You got to do it.
I'm all for it. That sounds like a delicious condiment.
Hmm?
Condoms.
Condiment synergy is something that doesn't really get talked about very often.
I'm really hungry, and if we're gonna start talking about food, I'm gonna
Yeah,
get
we're
really
marathoning
sad.
here.
Do you want some tacos? I could give you some tacos.
No, I will not eat on the podcast.
Are you sure?
Yes.
It'd be real crunchy. They're hard shells.
I'm
Since
good.
it's a crossover episode, we're allowed to. Since
Yeah,
we
we
do it
just-
all the
we
time
eat all
on the
the time
second
on the
shot. So,
like sriracha and mayo. It's delicious. You mix it
but
together.
It is.
Spicy
mayo.
Yeah, I felt like La Barbara's whole like she was looking for a reason to just like
Oh, of course.
split.
Yeah.
Is this
But-
the first time she's like broke
No.
up
No.
or divorced?
No, no,
Okay.
no. But at the same time, she's also remarkably fickle in leaving Barbados Slim as well. I mean,
Yeah.
Hermes just needed his head back on his body. It didn't even have to be the right way on, and she was back into it.
Yeah.
So there's
He didn't
something
take
going
his,
on.
He took his sweet time when he got his head back on too. Like he was just kind of hanging out with everybody.
It's just
Yeah.
like women can't make up their minds.
Oh, it's exactly.
Can't live with them. Can't put your head back on your body and have him leave you.
So the thing that I didn't understand, and it didn't seem to be explained in the episode, is it was 2 years before they started writing. It was 4 years before this aired. The cast and crew didn't seem to have an understanding that they'd been doing nothing for 2 years. Like, did they just lose that time?
What do you mean?
Like, the professor's like, oh, no, you got fired 2 years ago. And they just
We were
didn't seem to. Yeah, they didn't seem. It was like they.
I
Didn't-
think your I know your hatred for cartoon logic sometimes.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I'm
definite
just trying to
cartoon
figure
logic.
it out.
Is it just
I just
like,
figured they just like showed up and hung out with each other,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
there were
Well,
just no
one
deliveries,
to work.
and no one questioned anything.
I
They
mean,
so
somehow
rarely worked
Hermes got
anyway.
promoted too.
Yeah.
That's
doing
true.
nothing.
So they were conscious and awake and
They
doing
just so
things.
rarely worked anyway when the show was still going.
That's true.
Yeah.
They had like one episode a season.
It seemed for some reason that stuck out to me when they went to the nude beach. Oh yeah, no, and that's why, because Lee was just like, okay, it's good to be back behind the wheel again.
Mhm.
Like
That's not
she
the
hadn't
wheel.
been delivering for 2
Yeah,
years.
Yeah.
they were.
So they just
Out of
didn't
business.
They just didn't do anything.
Nope.
Yeah, just didn't think about it.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
And that wasn't
mean,
the
when I
wheel.
got-
it was
when I-
like a tuba or whatever. That
it was a French
Is
horn.
it French horn? Yeah.
Maybe a flugelhorn.
When I got laid off, I didn't think about it. I just watched porn until I got a job.
I also think
Someone-
of the joke is there. It's like where they were canceled, so it's like no one cared about them in the beginning. So it was like kind of a joke. It was like, oh, they were canceled.
Yeah.
Like, it-
Okay.
Yeah.
No one thought about that, or
I see that.
It's oh my god, my notes. There's so many notes and I can't.
I just wrote down
losing
jokes.
Yep.
Like at the beach, like talking to the bartender guys, like, why are you talking to my penis?
Yeah, Fry goes to deliver the box of bar stool softener.
I think my favorite joke though is when they show the tattoo of Bender on his ass.
Yeah.
And Bender looks at it, he's like, hey, it's like looking at a smelly mirror.
You have to be at least this naked to enter.
how do you get any more
And
naked?
Zoidberg shows him when he molts. It's disgusting.
Even the professor has the thug life tattoo.
Yeah. So what? He's got some ink.
It's so I was trying to figure out what the petition was for. I mean, clearly it was just a ruse anyway. Was
I
there
don't think it was for anything.
No, it's just to collect their information.
was there a name for those aliens?
Yes, Nudar, Fleb, and Schlump.
I meant more like species. I was
They
calling
just-
them the Sprungers.
That's what they were calling them
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
They were disgusting.
Yeah,
they
they're
were
so gross.
just
They look like turkeys.
too. Kind
but-
of, yeah.
kind of, but
Like frog turkeys.
they had the puffy neck.
Naked mole turkeys.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then the one where we'll get there, but and they were licking each other's ears. It was really just.
I was into it. It was hot.
Just
So
It's
I
one
was
of the more disturbing things I've ever seen on this show. I think I was just so feeling unsettled.
Guess what? We're on cable now.
what would if you could travel back in time to meet yourself? Like how
would you fuck yourself?
Yeah, it just seems like
No, because it's like I don't understand who people like. You know, the room we talked about it on a recent episode of the show. Like Marilyn Manson, that rumor of him getting his ribs removed to suck your own dick. Like,
Yeah.
who would want to fucking suck? Who would want to suck their own dick?
it seems
Like,
like
what
a lot
fun
of work.
is that? Like, I
It
don't.
seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, well, that too, but like, it just doesn't seem like fun. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, I mean, to be fair, I don't
Not
want a
to
dick in my
you.
mouth in general, but like, I mean, to each their own, I guess. But it's just like,
It's human sexuality is a fluid continuum,
true.
George. I think they're going to getting
I'm only
ribs
on this
removed.
podcast to kink shame. So
All you gotta do is sprinkle some Torgo's executive powder on it. And it
tastes great.
It becomes palatable.
It's like eating pineapple.
Not great, palatable.
Well, it's funny you should say that because right at this point is where the spam starts coming in, and you see like Bender's inbox, which is literally all porn.
Free porn
And-
was one of the
and,
categories.
Get paid,
Even-
get rich watching porn.
One of the
Bender's email address was bender@ilovebender.com.
Wait, did they have in the episode about Leela, the last pygmy rhino was about to go extinct?
No,
Oh.
I didn't see that.
Oh, they
Well,
must have cut. Did they cut
Yeah,
that
she
out?
says, I don't quite understand what this petition's about. And Schlump says, animals?
No.
And
Well,
then she signs it.
they're getting spam. She's like
Oh.
looking at it. And then she's
I don't
like,
remember that.
the last pygmy rhino's about to go extinct unless he gets my credit card number. And then
Yeah, they must have cut that out from...
Because they got the Amy thing of buying the antidepressants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
what
then
did
there's a
Zoidberg
bunch
say?
of erectile dysfunction things in there too. But the one of Bender's was free nude pictures of yourself.
Scan for a virus. I'm waiting for porn over here.
Oh, and they didn't show the Wes Johnson Pornversity homepage when he was about to get paid to watch porno.
No, they didn't.
Didn't see that.
Wes Johnson.
Wes Johnson Pornversity.
Oh my God! Is that
Or
where you
porn-
went when you were
porniversity.
in between jobs?
Pretty much.
That's pretty great. I didn't know you could get paid for doing that.
I mean, you don't.
Oh,
The government pays you in unemployment.
oh.
And while your girlfriend's not home.
Gotcha. Okay,
When
that's
you're just playing Grand Theft Auto.
Sounds awfully specific to your situation.
No idea what you're talking about.
Zoidberg got the Nigerian prince scam.
Yep. Prince Ardisarki Ozoidberg.
What was the name?
It says, I'm looking at the transcript. I don't remember this, but he said His Majesty Prince Adisaraki O. Zoidberg of Nigeria
Yeah.
died. Like he was, he said Zoidberg because like he's supposed to inherit the Nigerian fortune, but
I
You
love
just
that
have to send some good faith money.
he says that, and then Amy starts crying. She's like, "When
Yeah.
does antidepressants get here?"
I'll inherit his kingdom, his canoe, and his plump young wife is also what Zoidberg says.
I mean those scams still happen, and it's just I can't wrap my head around the fact that there are people that are that fucking stupid, and there must be, because it's got to be one of those things where it's just you send out 1 million emails, and if you get 2 dummies,
It's a numbers game. I mean, it's
Yeah.
gotta be like, yeah. I mean, I get a shit ton of spam like that, but it's just very easy to pay attention to. It's like, oh, there's a fucking, I don't know, weird wiggly line in the middle of one of these. Like,
yeah.
that is not from an American keyboard.
I don't know if you all work for. Well, I know I'm not sure that if you guys would ever experience this, but like when you have a desk job and you have like corporate email, they try to send out fake. This is actually currently going on at my job. Do they send out like? For you, maybe they do, Pete. Like fake phishing emails, and then
To
if
see
you
who's dumb enough.
open up, yeah, exactly. Like click the link, and then when you click it, they're like, "Hey, guess what? We fucking got you." Like this could have been a suspicious. This could have been a phishing attempt, and this is why, because the email address it was sent from was like,
What an
So-
awful meeting you'd have to go to. It's like to
Yeah.
sit
Well,
down with
like-
your boss and like, hey, you're an idiot on the
Well,
internet.
the thing is, like, you really have to be an idiot to fall for one of these because, like, for me today at work, they sent out a warning email that said, guess what? We're going to trick you. And when you get this email, this is how you report that you are about to get phished. The email is going to come from spam at thebankthatIworkfor.com. And it's going to, it'll have this subject line. If you're seriously dumb enough to fall for that, like, I feel so
48% of your office failed.
Probably. So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting on that
60%.
Probably
phishing email.
Karen fell for it.
I used to work
Karen.
at a university, and you would get those. Now I work for a company that works with a lot of universities, and they still get those. There's like a really big push going on right now for security because schools have to like actually be audited on it now until Betsy DeVos shuts down the entire Department of Education.
Or yeah, just
Uh,
no schools anymore. Who
yeah,
gets it?
until we
Go to
just
the
all go to
military.
ITT.
Yeah, or Ohio Center for Broadcasting, like
Yes.
I did.
and so you would get those ones, and it's just like it just takes the one person, and they hit it, and then it just carpet bombs every address
Right.
in their thing, and it's just. Did you ever hear there was a This American Life story about a guy who like reverse trolled someone doing the Nigerian prince scam?
Yes.
So there's
I
a
have
story
seen
about
that.
a Nigerian prince,
Yeah.
and it's weird, these emails.
What?
Sorry, that's my,
It-
my
I mean,
NPR voice.
How do you know? I don't know how far to believe it or whatever, but he basically would be like, okay, I can send you your money, but I need you to go here. And he's like, that's going to take me 6 days to get there. And like just got this guy like progressively into more fucked up situations until
Yeah,
he
it's
finally
pretty
bailed
funny.
out.
Yeah.
Because it's just, like, I do 24/7 tech support for my mom because she doesn't get it at all. And
You work for the Geek Squad, right?
well, just a very, very specific branch. It services one address in Rocky River, on call all the time,
Nonprofit
and
organization.
it extends to like the television remote and the iPhone and the Google Home, like all of it. But just trying to explain this stuff sometimes, just how do you? She gets all weirded out. Like, how do you know that it's fake? I'm like, just look at it. Like, obviously it's fake. And so for like this stuff. I guess this is going back 10 years now. In context, I mean, there's still was email really that ubiquitous, or was this still like
This is like before Instant Messenger was like a easier accessed thing.
yeah?
Like email was probably more like efficient than instant messaging.
yes.
Like instant messaging was a thing, but it was mostly like teenagers using it. It's not
Right.
and texting was a thing too, but it wasn't as
At this
prevalent.
time in the world, it cost me 25 cents per text.
yeah. I had Boost
What?
Mobile. I still had-
What?
Yeah.
it was expensive. man.
My parents did not have, this is literally this exact same time frame. My parents did not have a texting plan because this was back before like everybody texted. Like
Yeah.
their plan didn't include text messages. It cost 25 cents for every text you sent or received. So when I went to college and started like making friends and giving people my phone numbers, people in my dorm would like text me, and then I would get a call from my mom every month when she got the bill. Why are you texting? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm literally like giving people my phone number so that I have friends. And then
You don't need
like,
friends.
well, like don't
college.
text.
You
Don't
work.
text. Like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, I can't stop someone from texting me. I'm sorry that it cost you an extra $20 because people keep texting me to do
This is how
shit.
the world is
Popular
now.
mom.
Yeah,
Didn't
and then
raise
she
you to
was
be
like, "Yeah,
popular?
guess what? You're getting your own phone plan." And then that's what I did.
That's what I did. I just Boost Mobile, pay as you go, man.
Yeah,
It's really. I mean, I don't think I ever got.
I still
A
pay
plan that
25
bad.
cents per text.
Really?
I choose to. I haven't updated my
Well, you-
phone plans since 2004.
They call you Tommy Machete, right? You don't text.
It includes 500 kilobytes of unrestricted data.
Check my email once a month.
So this, I guess this makes sense because, like, really, this is probably at the point where you had 100% email saturation or so.
It was probably the peak of it. Like internet was like a thing in people's houses pretty regularly. It was the beginning of Wi-Fi. You know, like
God, we're probably totally off on this too. I mean, like,
I mean,
in 2007, It had been around for a while, but I think it really started becoming like affordable and widespread, where
That was
people
in
were
It was
getting
about 10 years in. I
It was
mean,
like
you-
when Facebook blew up.
Well, like
Yeah.
we didn't have
Yeah.
the internet in my house until about 2007, 2008. Like it was still too expensive until that time.
really?
Yeah. Like my mom was, we were struggling for a while, but like we had a computer, but it wasn't a good computer, and we just had a landline.
Yeah,
Was
I'm
that-
pretty sure we had the internet, but it was like we had AOL. Like
Yeah.
we would just do AOL until I think my dad got a job where he was a sales rep for ESP guitars and Line 6, and his job required him to use the internet. So his boss, it was like a small company, like had Roadrunner installed at our house, and it was like, yeah, we
Oh my
high
gosh.
speed, and it was
Hot
paid for,
wire.
and it was paid
Cox
for.
cable, dude.
Yeah, it was paid for by his job. Like it was part of my dad's job, so we didn't pay for internet for a while. But then he quit that job, and then we couldn't get rid of the Roadrunner because my dad and I were addicted
that
to the
job.
internet by that point.
I still have
Yeah,
an
that
email
was-
address that I got in like 1999.
Oh yeah, I still use the same email address that I signed up for in high school. I was like one of the first people with Gmail. When you actually had to be referred. Do you guys remember that? Like
It
you
was
needed to
invite
know.
only.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
needed to know somebody who had Gmail to get a Gmail account, and that was when I signed up for it. And that's why I am the Michelle Burlingame at gmail.com. The other Michelle Burlingame in Akron gets all, like, I get emails for her all the time, and I'm like, nope, she's Michelle.Burlingame.
My favorite
I
thing about
am
Google now is
Michelle
how
Burlingame
exclusive
at
a club
gmail.com.
everything on Google is. They don't let you in on anything.
There was one time, because on this email I've had forever and ever and ever. It's my Peter Woodward at such and such. Like I got it that early. Of
Wood.
course, the domain has been dead.
Anybody ever tell you your name sounds like a penis?
Occasionally,
Like a cool porno man?
like a. It sounds like a British euphemism, is what it sounds like.
Hi, I'm Peter Woodward.
It's just a very. It's got some alliterative things going on.
I like
Lots of the R's.
To be honest, there is probably someone that grew up on the street Woodward that his middle name is Peter, so therefore his porn name is Peter Woodward.
What was your dog's name?
I tried to buy a house on that street. I really did. This is like, I'm like, fuck it. This is my street. So there was just one time, and this is when I was married to my ex-wife, who was a paranoid lunatic anyway. Some
Put her on
guy
blast.
emailed me out of the blue because he emailed my email address thinking I was someone else. Like, this guy was in Los Angeles, and just like, I really don't care what happens between you and her. I just think the way that you went about it was really awful, and you could have been a lot cooler about it. It was something like that. Like, the message just devoid of context placed me in the middle of some weird love triangle that I had no idea what he was talking about. Of course, my ex-wife was just like, why are you getting this? What is that? Like, she went off for like 3 days thinking that I was involved in some kind of weird shit. I was trying to explain to the guy, I'm like, how did you even get this email, number one? And number two, what the fuck are you even talking about? That kind of rational response didn't go over well with my former spouse, which is one of the sundry reasons I hope she's dead in a ditch somewhere.
Oh, man.
But anyway,
I have the same name as my dad, so I mean, I kind of understand where you're going from.
You guys want to hear some of the spam that the crew got?
yes.
All right.
I tried to keep up with it. It was
So,
too busy.
Here's some stuff from that Leela got. Make money, which are the dollar symbols, stuffing email, irregular goats, 50% off.
That's a good
wait.
deal.
Irregular goats or regular goats?
Regular.
Irregular.
Oh, irregular.
Irregular.
Oh, instead of irregular
Yeah.
coats.
Collectible fur bags. Amy got some that she got one for Torgo's executive powder. Used erections. I can't believe
Used erections.
I can't believe it's not medicine. Mom's wrinkle butter, discount scrotums.
Huh.
No more.
They really were getting into
Yeah.
like
I
sort
think
of
it's
the
what I get
filthiness.
on an average day. I have a
Discount
porn,
scrotums.
I have a porn email account too. Where it's like anything I need to like send an email to, like a Tumblr page. And
If I
stuff.
have to get to customer service on my bill,
I have a Tumblr page no one's allowed to see.
It's from discount scrotums.
No more bowels.
No more.
Oh, that gets into one of my other favorite jokes of this. Where it's like, we got rid of the tattoo and 40% of your rectum.
Yeah.
It's like, that's all you need.
Well, so it was at the point where Zoidberg is flipping out about his Nigerian scheme, and Hermes is just losing his shit because he's like, "You're all a bunch of idiots." They had umbrellas stuck in his jar.
Yeah.
Like if
over in the
Hermes was here,
corner.
he'd fire you all. I am here.
I made a note there that Hermes doesn't matter while his head's in a jar.
Yeah.
No one listens to him.
No one really listened to him to begin with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Farnsworth kind of did, I
Well,
guess.
he's
but-
Zoidberg's best friend. We all know that.
I want to have a mandatorium. This is like the
I like that the mandatorium is just the regular room.
yeah, but like the professor has the angry dome. I need one of those, but then I also want a mandatorium.
What did he call his bedroom when they all went to his room to show him the that giant atom for the Miss Universe pageant?
God, I forget.
Where it's like,
I know what you're talking about. Like
and then there was
he's-
the bathtub too, where he was just in the bathtub.
yeah. The professor's got no shame.
I love him.
But then he falls for the Spanish lottery, which is basically just the Nigerian prince scam. I mean, and that's
I can afford to be wrong. I won the Spanish lottery.
but it's just is that my $400? I'm rich. Like it's the same thing. It's just I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. Our country's in the state that it is because people lack the critical thinking skills to like
Oh boy, here goes Pete on his soapbox.
just to digest like shitty
Get it?
information.
You're on the internet.
Hey, if it's on the internet, it's got to be true.
Well, that
Info bores.
I'm gonna Alex Jones this up and rip my shirt off and start
Turn the
wearing
frogs
Crisco.
gay.
Oh,
Oh, that was a really good professor.
what?
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 So I just referred to the Sprungers as the petition guys. Like they still were just these weird.
The gay frogs.
Yeah, they're just.
So like, they had John Lovitz as one of the Sprungers.
Was he?
Yeah, he was a
Oh.
third Sprunger.
I didn't get
I
that.
didn't catch that.
And I don't understand.
That makes
I'm
him even
pretty
creepier.
sure it sounds exactly like him. I've always thought it was
What?
John Lovitz, the one who
Oh.
speaks probably the least.
That seems.
And if that's the case, I don't understand why they had John Lovitz in such a minor role.
yeah.
Because he's John Lovitz and he does so well with these kind of like shows.
But I.
I heard he's.
Yeah, that's.
I heard he's an asshole in real life.
Oh, I'm sure, but like
Yeah.
I mean, he's amazing on pretty much his Artie Ziff and
Yeah.
what's his name in the Streetcar Named Marge and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I've had 3 heart attacks and I'm planning on a 4th.
He is not credited in
No?
this episode.
It sounds
No.
exactly like him.
I mean,
I've always thought it was him.
They're all. Here's an interesting thing. Lauren Tom plays Amy Wong, and also Philip J. Fry
Yeah.
II.
Yes.
So I didn't know that she did.
Yeah.
Young
She did
Fry.
that in the
I
in
did
the
catch
TV
that
show too, The
one.
Luck of the Fry Rush.
Really?
And Mark Hamill is Hanukkah Bot, which
Yeah.
I did not realize. That's later.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Coolio is Kwanzaa Bot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
I did
Also
not.
the,
I knew Coolio was Kwanzaa Bot, but I never realized that Mark Hamill
It's a
was
TIE
Hanukkah
Fighter
Bot.
reference. It kind of adds to that.
Oh,
Right.
It's Hanukkah TIE Fighter.
I just I never realized it.
Yeah. Some of those references seemed a little weird the way they shoehorned it in.
Yeah, the whole Santa thing is really where I started to kind of like. That's the worst part of this whole thing.
Yeah, we're not there.
Yeah,
we're not
I know.
there
I don't
yet.
want to skip ahead, but it is kind of like the oh right, I forgot about this part. Kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like
Gummy fungus. Would you eat gummy fungus or no?
if it screamed like that, yes.
Isn't that what mushrooms are?
It's David Herman, Frank Welker, and Maurice Marsh as all the
Really.
Huh.
scammers.
The one definitely sounded Frank Welkery. He had that Freddy from Scooby-Doo timbre to his voice.
I love Frank Welker. He's so fucking funny.
Well, he did Nibbler. That was another thing that seemed a little weird. There's-
One of them does call Zoidberg Your Highness. He puts the gummy fungus into the antidepressants jar and says, "Ship them out, Your Highness."
because he has the crown
Finally,
on.
some respect.
Hands it to Amy. She's like, I feel a little better.
He's got handsome Lars in his fabulous jars. He just keeps popping up in weird places. They never really explained why it was taking so long for the body to get fixed. Like,
He was entirely crushed by a spaceship.
yeah, but
I mean, I know they said, what, 2 days, something like that?
they
to
said
fix
like
it?
a few days, is
Yeah.
all. But it took
So I
a
guess-
couple weeks at least.
Well, it's because the museum got tricked into giving all of its funding to something
Oh,
called
right.
Scamming Sciences Institute. But yeah, I like when Lars walks in and he says, "Hello, everyone who isn't Leela, and a special hello to everyone else." Like, smooth. Smooth.
I mean, the whole fight sequence with the Niblonians and the scammers,
with
In their
so-
kitten
with their
class
kitten
ship.
the little
class
kitten
ships.
toys is like, what did they call it? Oh, here's this line. Our kitten class ships were no match for their mighty chairs. And the one parachutes and it's got a kitten little thing.
Mayday, mayday.
But it's that added thing of like it collapses onto him and he kind of pops up a little bit and looks around. And
So that was the other thing that I
He
did-
rides in on a guinea pig too.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
eats it.
But so typically in the past when Nibbler has revealed himself, he's done like a brain wipe.
Yeah, they give up on that.
They didn't, but like everybody seemed tweaked out at first when he was talking, and then they just glossed it over, and then they never referred to it again.
They bring it up later.
Do they?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that
Yeah, we skipped over where Lars asks out Leela.
and Fry gets real bent out of shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and he makes his macaroni
Valentine.
Valentine. Yeah.
Have I shown you my macaroni painting? Yes.
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 Well, look at it again.
Leela and I were meant to be together. It's in the macaroni.
There's the line in here where they're standing around watching the Sprungers. They're talking about the sponging gland, and Zoidberg has to, lucky you. All I have is a gland that gives off foul odors when I'm bored,
Well, that's the
and then
second-
everybody else is like,
Isn't that the next episode?
I don't.
I separated my notes by episode. This episode, the first episode ends
it's
with
this one.
The first episode ends with the Niblonians
yeah,
attacking.
yeah, yeah.
But I definitely
It's
have
a very
some,
funny. Like I like that there's a noise when his gland releases a sound.
he's
It's just such a small little
It's like
puff of air.
He
a
can make
fart,
ink,
like a little
too.
bit of
It's the
a.
noise I make when I try to imitate a queef. I don't know why it's the noise in my brain of what a queef sounds like, but
that doesn't sound as squeaky.
I know very different women than you.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh, we didn't need to take it there. Oh dear.
Checking out my sprunger, huh?